Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
Hello everyone to everyone's favorite podcast about Gemini movies. Today, because of the ongoing strike, there's an ongoing strike, as people know, if you listen to this podcast probably, there's an ongoing strike in America, a white strike and a NATO strike due to various labor concerns, and because of that, it's a bit vague, but basically the unions are saying, hey, maybe don't cover what we consider stock work, which is basically work done by unions with union actors. This is basically anything that's on streaming service that's made in America. Non-American works are not included, as long as they don't have like American union actors or like dubbing. So because of that, we're gonna do something special. This is an episode talking about labor in movies, the not really Gemini movies. We have a strike from 1925, right, Ludo?
You didn't even introduce me.
Sorry.
You said, this is my co-host.
I was gonna say after that, just want to explain. This is good.
One is strike and the other one is cart. So we have a Soviet and a Korean movie. And yes, I'm gonna do my catchphrase now. Rise up, proletariat! Seize the means! I'm Ludovico.
Great. Sorry for... Good.
No problem.
Anyway,
we keep that in because it's funny.
Yeah, before we start with this very special episode, we're gonna do talk about it, what we've been consuming lately. I'm going to first. Ludo, do you have anything, or just me, basically?
I'm gonna make it very short. I've been watching Turn A Gundam, my third attempt at watching a Gundam show.
Yeah.
It's going well. I like it, and maybe next month I will have thoughts about it.
Yeah. Do you like the mustache?
Yes, I'm a mustache defender.
Well, very good. Okay. Yeah, we like Tornado. It's one of my favorite Gundams. I think it's a very fun show. I'm looking forward to talking to you more about it. Okay, here's my thing. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 recently, the new big RPG Valhalla. I've been very much enjoying it. I'm a big fan of the first two Baldur's Gate games. Oh, and more the second. I struggle a lot with the first one. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is a very interesting combination of like Larian's like house like design. I'm guessing you played some Larian games, or like at least know about them a little, like Listener and stuff like that, like Divinity.
I played the really old Diablo one.
Oh yeah, Divine Divinity.
And I played like 1 hour or 2 hours of Divinity 2.
Okay, wait, the action RPG one or the Original Sin one?
Original Sin, Divinity 2, yeah.
It's confusing the two. But anyway, it's a very interesting combination of that house style of like CRPG, like computer RPG design, with the old school like D&D like design. I very much am enjoying it, mostly because I feel like the writing is probably lining it the strongest thing. Like a friend of mine said it's very much occupying the space like BioWare games used to occupy, like trashy pulp fiction RPGs where like you can like date people and like have like a very kind of trashy. But I very much am getting in it on that vibe on purpose, and it's very much like interesting because I feel like in terms of like one of those like big budget trying to be BioWare RPGs I played, this is one of the strongest ones, honestly. Every companion character is very interesting in their own right, besides one guy that's just wizard guy. And the writing is very solid. It also does a lot of like the species selection, the class selection. You can have various options. I'm playing what's so So typically how the game starts is you can make your own character, or play as one of the companions, which is the thing from the original Sin 2. But also you can play as a player character, a player character that has like a backstory, like a companion called the Dark Wars, which I'm convinced it's a Dexter reference.
Yeah, Dark Passenger.
Yeah, because it's basically the evil wood that's also basically a sequel to the main story from like the first two Baldur's Gate games, where you basically are the fantasy Joker.
You're the god of murder's child.
Yeah, you're literally fucking boss spawn. It's very obvious. I tried to hint at it and like, no, it's super obvious. But anyway, it's very much interesting because it feels very much trying the line between like Airslot garbage and actually trying to do something mechanical, because by doing this part, you're basically killing off a bunch of characters that start a bunch of different quests and plots. But by doing that, you get much more different quests you never would get, and like benefits. And I feel like it's tries the line between edgy garbage and actually interesting stuff. Because as long as you keep being evil, you keep losing things, but you keep also getting benefits. So like this, that. It's very much interesting. I was just say the game is extremely bugged out. Like
Whoa.
when I entered the Twitch chapter, like it would just crash and would slow down because the Twitch chapter is like the city of Baldur's Gate and there's so many NPCs and the game doesn't handle it. Every time there's like a mean NPCs, the game just slows down.
Yeah, maybe that's just my old computer.
No, I have checked. It slows down even for people with new computers, like the latest one.
Oh, so it's just badly optimized.
It's interesting because it runs very well in the first two chapters. It's just we left in the third chapter. So
That
like
makes sense.
I think it's just because it has too many NPCs and like the design so much. Because the first two chapters are basically tutorials. The third chapter is like when you spend most of the game in, basically. Which the last one. There's like a lot of quests. Not to put, but I was just say it's a very fun thing because it's like the last chapter, but that's just like you do so much. There's various modern history side quests. You meet various characters from D&D. You can just bet on stuff. There's a very funny moment where you can just like go inside like like those circus performers like for kids, like those performers like in the streets as puppets. There's like a scene where you can just like put one of your companions alongside the clown man entertaining the kids, and depending who the companion is, they either do it where they like fucking almost kill some children by accident.
Oh, it's like that episode of Golden Kamuy.
Yeah, it's like
It's like the circus episode.
It's like the circus episode. It's very fun. I mean, it's very fun. This is literally. There's been some weird gamer discourse about this game. That's basically this is the superior thing about that. It's not the perfect thing. Not gonna be a very weird game about. But at the same time, it's like this is anyway some of the most fun the most fun I had with like a AAA thing in a long while. Because it just feels like an old school RPG in a way. So I say it's been enjoyable. I've been liking it. It's been good. I give it like a thumbs up. Okay, movie time.
Movie time.
Yeah.
So let me check. What's the next segment? Right.
Generally
So how did we like these movies?
I both enjoyed them a lot. I think they're both good for various reasons. Cat is a very good, so realistic, like social critique movie that has a very interesting format in how the movie doesn't focus on like one protagonist and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I think it's one of the best movies I've seen from like last decade. It really struck me specifically how it paints like woman label, just label in general, solidarity. It's very good. Cat is very good. Strike is fantastic. It's fantastic because it's literally you are seeing movies being made at theater. It's literally one of the earliest movies. It's made by one of the big pioneers of this early filmmaking, Einstein. Is it Einstein or Einstein? How do you actually pronounce it? Eisenstein. Okay, Eisenstein. Yeah, Eisenstein. It has a lot of fucking very interesting, innovative techniques, and also it just holds up as a movie. It holds up as a very interesting look at like labor, into labor capitalism. There's scenes in the movie like, oh yeah, this still happens this day. We're gonna talk about it later. The fucking thing in chapter 3 is very interesting. We enjoyed it. Yeah.
I also enjoy both movies. I I agree with your points. I didn't know while watching, I only found that out during research, that Cart was directed and had a producer that were both women. That makes a lot of sense with the way it portrays labor and women.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very good. What I also didn't know is that both are actually vaguely based on a real strike. So the strike, the 1925 movie, is based on a strike from 1905. They're both very good at what they're doing. They're doing different things, but about the same topic.
Yeah, I think they're sort of.
Yeah.
I think they're very good, yeah.
So the cultural and historical context is going to work different because we have movies from different eras first for Gemini Movies. Also, I think this is the first time we have a woman director, right?
Maybe? Actually, maybe. I cannot actually know, but I think it is, maybe.
Yeah, I think I don't remember any of the movies having a woman directing.
I'll have to look, but yeah, it might be a movie night, Gemini Movies first.
So yeah, Cart is from 2014 and from Korea, and Strike is from 1925 and from Soviet Russia. So they're very different in the eras, even if they depict the same action, which is striking. The history of Korea is both these places are not places we're from. They both have very complex histories. So we're not going to go into big detail about these eras.
Just the thing, if I remember well, is while I think most of the cast in Strike was Russian, it was shot in Soviet Ukraine, I think, and was based on an Ukrainian thing.
Oh, that makes sense because the historical strike is also was also in Caucasian region and Ukraine.
Okay, yeah, okay. Just a neat fact about what it was shot. Okay,
that's good to know. But yeah, the Soviet Union was very young at the time for strike. So this was right at the start of Soviet cinema, the Soviet montage era, as I found out. Which is the thing Kuleshov made up, and then Eisenstein really worked it out.
Yeah.
And Cart is 2014, so that's the era we're all very familiar with. I think if you're not literally 8 years old and listening to this, which why are you here?
If you are a little baby, post a comment, subscribe, post a comment, babies for Gemini Movies.
Yeah. Hashtag babies for Gemini. But yeah, I think Cart is very interesting from that perspective that from interviews I heard that even expat Koreans didn't know about labor issues in Korea at the time.
Yeah.
So it was a very revelatory movie for audiences in other countries to hear about how hardcore these protests were.
It's actually very interesting because when it comes to Korean cinema, South Korean cinema specifically, what we normally think is what would be called, I think it's called the Korean New Wave. That might be a more Western tone, but basically those your packs, Old Boy, stuff like that.
Crime and violence movies.
Yeah, and the cinema South Korea, even it's more thematic, kind of dark, it's adult cinema is much more larger than that. To the point where a lot of Korean whites have complained of the stinking Korean cinema as that, and I think Cat is very much a very interesting piece in that because it's a very subdued social critique drama.
Yeah, it goes in a very different direction. Also, I have here some wild-ass data about the strike, which I think was in 2006 or 2007. It was over a year. Mm-hmm. So at one point, they sent 7,000 policemen against 900 women.
Yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, what is wrong with these people? Holy shit. And what also is very impressive is the strike went for 510 days, which is one of the longest strikes I ever heard of.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive. It doesn't actually get made a big point in the movie, even though it's such a wild thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you got anything else to add for one of these two movies and the eras they're in?
No, I guess the other thing would strike. It's more like I guess there's two things. Strike is a movie very much like Soviet cinema is being made, and the thing with the Soviet cinema being made is like this is not even a propaganda thing. When a new Canadian force is being made, you kind of need to put it culturally. So like a lot, you can see it a lot in like stuff like Strike and stuff like that. It's like to build an idea of like what Soviet like label is in very interesting ways.
Yeah, I also think like this early era of Soviet movies, they were state funded and they definitely have political ideology, but it's not how we imagine state propaganda.
Yeah, like I don't even think
like there's not pictures of Stalin showing up. Yeah. Or like they're not talking about the Soviet state that is going to come. They're like conveying ideas.
Yeah, like Soviet cinema is a thing that gets very much like misconstrued. That's sort of like the sacrifice, like so Straka guy. We just think most of it's propaganda, and most of it was not actually propaganda. But in general, I feel like it's even just less propaganda, more trying to like after revolution, filmmakers, even with the help of the government, are trying to find what is our day of labor, what is trying to deal with history, because Tsarist Russia was fucked up. We'll talk more about that, but Tsarist Russia was fucked up.
Yeah. I think that's hard to deny if you're not like the descendant of some like Tsarist noble people who really want it to come back or some shit.
Anyway, I think we have stuff also about South Korea, but we talk about it. Let's just go to that section. We talk about stuff, Natalie.
Yeah. So let's start our main segment. Let's go to cast and acting for Cart. So now is the moment when I regret that I am reading the names now, because I'm about to butcher some Korean and then some Russian names.
If you're Korean or Russian, sorry for what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I'm not good at this. So we have Do Kyung-soo as Tae-young, Jum Young-ae as Suni, Moon Jong-hee as Hee-mi, Ji-woo as Soo-kyun, Kim Kang-woo as Dong-jun, Chun Woo-hee as Mi-jin, and Kim Young-ae as Soon-rae. So how did you enjoy the cast and the acting?
I really like the acting. It feels very naturalist, you know. Like there's like a very naturalist quality to like how, because of course it's a movie, but like very like working class majority woman characters doing your strikes. Like there's a very kind of like naturalist, like very humanly like honest way to the acting that I enjoy. I don't speak Korean. I think it's called Hangul. It's not actually Korean. I think either way, it's like I don't speak the language. So I cannot actually say about the nuances of like the performances itself. But I do think, in terms of the emotional, catalytic likeness of the acting, I think it's really good. It's a very like I said, it's been trying to be like honest, down to earth. There's some moments where the characters burst in emotion that I feel are very good. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was astonished that Do Kyung-soo was actually a K-pop star.
Yeah.
And this is one of his first like big roles, and he has since broke into acting. Like he has become an actor. Yeah. Unlike Harry Styles.
Yeah, that's like a much more common thing than in the West, or at least like America. Like a lot of like in J-pop and like K-pop, I think Chinese pop. So a lot of people just broke into acting, and that's normal. Like a lot of Japanese voice actors start, in terms of anime voice actors, like start as like musicians, like pop men. It's very interesting. But yeah, I think the acting is solid. Do you think that the acting is solid? I'm guessing yeah.
Yeah, I liked the acting. They cast some like big names apparently, and in the interview, the director said that one of the reasons they cast Do Kyung-soo was because they knew this is not like typical movie. This is like a movie about labor, which is a very uncommon topic in Korean films. So by casting popular actors and like a K-pop star, they would get more people interested in the movie and watch it, which makes a lot of sense to like get people invested in a topic they maybe not know a lot about.
Yeah, it's clever. I think what it does, it's like very interesting, and really ties down to what I like about the movie and how it puts this very honest like thing. Like all the lead actresses are like really fucking good at giving different emotionalities and like different like characters, because there's different responses to the strike and there's different things, there's different parts. It's like really fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strike.
Strike. Let me read the names. Let me do pain. So we got Mikhail Gomarov as worker. Ivanov, I don't know what's the full name, as chief of police. Grigory Alexandrov as factory foreman. Maxim Strauk as police spy. Alexander Antonov as member of strike committee. Yera Yanukova as worker's wife. Ivan Kliukvin as revolutionary. Yudif Glitzer as queen of thieves. Boris Yurtsev as king of thieves. That's it. Yeah, that's like the named ones I can find here.
This is very interesting because this is our first silent movie here, and like, because silent movies don't have voices. Wow.
Damn.
Fucked
That's
up,
wild.
But yeah, so talking about the silent movie, this also happens when people in general talk about silent movie and acting. Talking about silent movie and acting is different from talking about older, newer acting, because while newer acting actually uses a lot of like hand gestures and things, silent movie acting was like it was in his ears when it's getting made still its own language, because it's all based on like a lot of like hand movements of the body, to make it seem like you're being talked, responses of course.
Yeah,
so
the bodily expression is like very important.
I think we talk more about this when we go to like the cinematography and stuff. Like, I do think this is very interesting because Eisenstein really like knows how like to direct that thing. So when characters like move and everything, it feels in a very isolated way, but in a way that feels very much like getting to those emotions, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of the articles that I read about this talk about this, that like the way he can use movement and the editing with it to like make the psychological impact as strong as possible.
Yeah, I feel like that's what makes the acting this very interesting, because like it's all about putting those emotions and like putting like those hand mannerisms, those body mannerisms into actually conveying actual emotion, which I find interesting. I think in terms of that, I cannot speak about the silent acting, but I think it's all very solid. I love the fucking guy who plays one of the evil weird guys.
Yeah. It's just like pure villain energy.
There's some like slight fat phobia like with him, but I think he's just fun. I think he's just very fun.
Yeah. He just reclines in his seat, smokes a cigar, and laughs.
I love those. I love fucking those movies because they'll just like fucking have them like smoking like cartoon style, like about how much they hate to like fucking black people. It fucking works, even if there's almost no fucking dialogue. It's great.
What I found interesting is that a large part of the cast is like actual workers that never acted in a movie before.
I think
a few of these are like recurring in other Soviet movies, like they kept acting or they were already actors, but a lot of like the extras are just like workers from the place there.
Yeah, I think it's a very clever and good decision, because I feel like Eisenstein was always interested. This what happened to people in Soviet cinema. If you're familiar with Soviet cinema, more than like 5 things you probably know about Man with the Movie Camera.
Yeah.
Which was just a guy shooting actual real people, then editing was the semi-plot. So like this era of Soviet cinema was very much actually experimenting with like trying to like have a more laid down and actual trying to communicate with the actual workers, like after the revolution. So like I feel it's very much a very clever decision to actually have workers like in this movie about labor, which I find is very good. But yeah, I think it's very good acting overall. But I have a lot to say about it. I have a lot to say about how it's directed and acted, but that's for other segments.
Okay. Let's go to the plot of Cart. Yeah, from my opinion, it keeps it very grounded and orients itself a lot by actual events. And it doesn't like try to add too much to it, like to over dramatize things, because like the actual events are dramatic enough.
Yeah, I think it's very clever. Like it goes from like plot, it goes from beat to beat, but I think it works very solidly because as it goes from beat to beat, you get various characters like because it's very much an ensemble piece. You get various characters like thoughts and things, you know, various characters like views, various characters emotions, and by having each scene, each moment be viewed by different characters, it gives like this very like it's just solid. It's like just works and like driving actually what it felt to just do this long side to actually just do well. I think it's a sort of like I wouldn't call this like a biopic or like anything, but in terms of like movies based on real events, I think it's one of the most solid ones because it understands just like it not only understands it's not just worldwide by one person, it understands how to like just view and make those events into the actual moments or like near to the actual moments it happen, like emotionally.
Yeah.
I think it's very solid in what it's trying to do. I like just how it goes from beat to beat to beat to beat to beat, and it just solidly goes into like this woman's life, why they're doing this, the design the politics of like just the workplace and like a supermarket and like work. It's really fucking solid.
I find it cool with both of these movies that they don't have a main protagonist.
Yeah.
Like there is not one audience surrogate where we have a cast of characters and like we're seeing stuff from different perspectives.
Yeah, I like a lot because again, real life and real action is not just one person, of course. So like, by focusing on various people's views, by various people's in the life, both evil and good, you just get what life is. You just get this like combination of various people trying to do something for good, for both good and evil, and like just the outcomes of that. And I think it's good to depict that in a movie about labor because, of course, labor fights are more than one fucking guy or one fucking person.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I really like the ensembleness of both movies we watched. Strike is much more very interesting because it's divided also into 6 parts.
Yeah, is it 5 or 6? Is it 6 episodes?
It's 6 episodes. It's
okay.
Technically an anthology, but it all connects. It's not like...
yeah, it's one long story, but like it's like divided into chapters almost like a book.
Yeah, it's just divided. It's like, it's much more different from like what the modern term of like anthology stories would think of. Because it's all connected and just like each chapter continues certain characters, it's viewpoints, it's very interesting. Do you want to go chapter by chapter, like we just talk about it generally?
No, we're not gonna give a full recap. I think the pacing is like really good for a 1925 movie, and that's like something that hits me with a lot of early Eisenstein movies, that they're like very frantic. There's like a couple of moments where the action dies down and it gives us time to relax, but like there's almost always action. There's always almost like plot being pushed forward. Talking about the plot is kind of weird with it because like it's not like we have a lot of dialogue or like character developments or something. It's more like the plot is the strike that's happening.
Yeah, just more about it's more about how it's more like more just like a Xenon like strike of overall.
Yeah, basically every episode shows how the strike first happens and then escalates over time. So yeah, that's pretty nice.
It also goes into certain aspects, like there's more focus on the workers, and certain chapters there's focus on the bosses.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Chapter 2 is probably my favorite because it has all the bosses being evil. They're very funny. It has the fucking line where it's like, Oh, workers. It was it like workers are so lazy or something.
Yeah, because they demand an 8-hour work week or something.
No, it was like workers are making work political.
Yeah, why are they trying to make this strike political?
It's so fucking funny. Eisenstein was fucking ahead of it all.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't really changed from this, from like some of the points of the capitalists in this movie.
Yeah. I guess, like, do you talk about the chapter 5 here, which is the one of the, you know...
Isn't it chapter 4? Because 5 is when they sabotage, but 4 is when they get recruited. There's basically a bunch of, like, thieves and ne'er-do-wells, and they get recruited by the capitalists to sabotage the strike.
I've read, like, a review of this. I think it's important to talk about this part briefly before going, because it's, like... I read a couple reviews on this, because... So first, there's a character can be the trans. We don't really know, like, it's not really modern transphobia. It's just probably like just a.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to gauge this in retrospect. Like we can't even ask the people involved.
No, we're gonna use a easy model.
We need a time machine.
Yeah, but anyway, there's also like a little person, and that's there's recurring uses of little person that's a bit more problematic. Like, because of how they just use them. That's not the best, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely, like, ableism going on.
I read a review of this, a couple of reviews of this, where it's trying to, from a historical point, and from what they could get from interviews. Eisenstein was trying to get, like, an actual kind of weird thing of, like, a rival class for, like, the people, like, not to focus on politics and, like, no ideas that can be recruited by capitalists. It's just because this is mostly just because it's a very old movie, and like we have communist and like basically leftist ideas has like moved on a lot in terms of development of these issues. While you can talk about that, a lot. This movie's thing is they don't work.
Yeah. It's very much these are the evil non-work people. They're all thieves and criminals. And they're easily bought off by capitalists.
Which, like, Zana's flashy has those. It's like an actual real historical thing. It's just like...
I mean, yeah, every country has some people that are, like, just living the gangster's lifestyle.
Yeah, so, like, it's a very much, like, a historical thing. I don't think nothing... Like, this movie, like, there's way worse movies from the seller. Way worse movies. It's just, I think it's important to put these things in perspective. As always. But, yeah, I don't think there's nothing too heinous. It's just, like, there's, like... we have moved on much more from like the fucking 1920s.
I think my thing was like I thought they were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I know like Eisenstein wanted like us to be like disgusted by this rabble, and I was like, nah, these people they're just chilling out. They're like living in holes in the ground like frigging mole people. They're living the life.
They're fucking living the life.
Yeah.
Mole people life. Anyway, let's go to the other things.
Okay, let's go to Teams of Card.
Labor exploitation, the labor exploitation specific when it comes to women, how that intersects with supermarket worker, Xeno solidarity. South Korea has very fucked up labor policies.
Yeah, and apparently pretty fucked up police violence when it comes to like striking.
Yeah.
There's like three scenes where they get attacked by cops, and like I read up, they got attacked by cops a lot in the real event.
So it's time to be as the woman of the coup. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about feminism.
Let's go.
No, this is very basic. This is literally not even baby, because baby feminism will be the awful movie we watch.
Yeah.
This is basic feminism 101. Female labor is disrespected because labor historically by women has been disrespected, including the workhouse. So when another woman's got into the workplace, they went into positions alongside like racialized groups, and of course racialized women and like minority marginalized groups, specifically like trans people, disabled people and women and autogender identities. Because of that, they go into positions that people think are inferior. Well, and this goes into the general thing of supermarket work is fucked up. Supermarket work is like intensely fucked up anywhere in the world. It's specifically, even just being at the counter, there's a mentality of capitalism that customer always do as it's right, specifically goes into a toxicity about the toxicity about about the customers always being white in a position like a supermarket where you barely near the customer. So there's a scene in this movie where I can remember. I think when main character gets rude with like an avocado, and she has to apologize and cry, and say sorry to that character for being slightly rude, whereas that character was actually being extremely more rude. It's extremely like there's a performativeness specifically with regards to woman labor in supermarket in a lot of positions where like if you do anything specific against the customer, you will get punished. That's what punishment against your gender, against your poverty. It's really fucked up, and this movie really goes into it very nice. So, it goes into like the need for solidarity specifically because most of the workers in this are women. Because it's solidarity in terms of women. There's also later characters like a man who like teams up after finally going, "Hey, this is fucked up."
Yeah, like the structure is basically that the temporary workers, which were the people who striked, are like the lowest class inside this company. Yeah. They're the lowest type of work, and then there's like the bosses of them who coordinate them, and they're men. They're all men.
Yeah, it's literally
so that's like very descriptive of like the kind of stuff you described.
Yeah, it's very much about controlling like women and basically any marginalized people, and like of course there's people in general who are poor. Supermarket work, and I think there's somebody that knows a lot of people in the local supermarket, both women and not women. It's just very much about control. You are there to be controlled 24 hours. This movie shows that you are controlled even when you go to take a bathroom. It's really fucked up. This also goes into the scenes about the various characters dealing with their kids. About, of course, if they do the strike, they want to benefit the family. It goes a lot into that also, and like a lot of like the need for labor solidarity. It's really fucking interesting.
Yeah. I don't have much to add. Union strong, companies and cops suck.
Wow, fuck up.
Yeah, that was my write-up for the teams.
Okay, also obligatory. Police unions are not actually real unions.
Yeah, they're fake.
Don't actually believe them. Don't be weird. Actually, what the cops are workers? No, they're not.
Yeah, they're enforcers. They're government enforcers.
They're only workers in the most vague, abstract way. Anyway, strike. Since I did the Feminism 101, it's time for, I don't know, more your time.
Proletarian, what is it? Wait, a cult of proletarianism. That's what I read up on.
Yeah.
So, Eisenstein was very focused on like making workers the main characters, which explains why there's no main character except the workers. So there's like a Gestalt effect, as German philosophers like said, which is like the mass of workers, they become like one thing, you know?
Yeah.
They're one idea, they're one entity. And it's very much like doing the historical thing, of course, from a Soviet perspective, of showing how the workers can like exert their strength and like try to get their needs met by striking. And then, of course, at the end, the Tsarist army basically comes in and murders them all.
Yeah, it's very much like, it's very much as about that, and as just like, very much, because this was made in the 1920s. This was like, what, 5 years after the overthrow of the Tsar? There was like a lot of the Tsarist policy in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, this is like 3 years after the like war between Tsarist sympathizers, like the White Army, I think.
Yeah.
And the Soviets ended.
So yeah,
this is very fresh.
So they needed to address at one point. No, these people fucking suck. Don't believe the propaganda, because like there was of course very few literacy. There was very few art, not very few art. You know, like very few access to actual popular art. So like a lot of this was like very much know your rights and also fuck the Tsars. I really like one of my favorite things is I think in chapter 2, which is about like a worker gets accused of like thieving. So like he gets bullied by his by the bosses and basically kills himself over it. it feels so fucking modern, and because of that, the worker strike, it's part of the worker strike. It's there's a lot of moments like we talked about that don't make work political thing. Like it just hits into the still now capitalist relations of like labor, and just like how bosses control everything because companies are just like controlled even now by just like bosses and controlled by what they do and manipulated by what they want to.
Yeah, like the themes are very universal. It's not something that really changed. Like just the worker relations and how you organize a strike, how the state is gonna react, like gonna help companies, like how the companies are gonna use the state to fight back.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really like. Eisenstein keeps it very simple, but because of that simplicity, it works very nice. You know, sometimes the simplicity of it all just gives a lot of context and like.
Yeah, I think he actually expresses some very complex ideas, but purely through imagery.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things Eisenstein was always very good at, and like a lot of Soviet filmmaking, even from like till the end of the Soviet Union, knew how to do. A lot of Soviet filmmaking knew how to do very simple stories, but also keep it to like visual, like even just like dialogue, and put a lot of nuance in it. You know.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
So like there's like a lot to unpack in what otherwise seems like very simple things, plot and structure wise. Because it's very, yeah.
I think it's hard to like summarize the themes when the themes are just like very direct, real things.
Yeah.
Like there's no high concepts up. It's about the movie Strike is about striking and labor. That's the themes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of themes. There's a lot of good. I do really like the ending. Like they just fucking
where
get
they
killed
use
by the
where
Soviets.
they use the cow to basically symbolize the slaughter on the workers.
It's really fucking hardcore for the 1920s, to be honest. So quick thing: if you're gonna watch this movie, there's actually a lot of animal violence in it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of animal violence in here.
This was before CGI or like any type of regulation like respecting animals in movies. So like just because there's people with sensibilities, just be careful when it comes to that.
If it puts you at ease, that cow was slaughtered like at a place where they slaughter cows for food. So that cow would have died anyway. They didn't kill it specifically for the movie.
Yeah.
They ate that cow.
Wow, fucked up.
Which doesn't make it better for some people, I'm sure. I'm not trying to like legitimize the whole industrial animal complex.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
We got cultural relevance for Cart.
I think Cat's very much. It's hard to describe because the movie from another country. But I think it's like, I think I'm just gonna go with the response of like, I think if you like movies about labor and like woman labor and stuff like that, I think it's one of the best ones I've seen in my life. It might say it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like a genuinely very interesting movie that does a lot of very interesting things, and I think there's like a lot of impact. And like we read in the resource, it seems like made us a bit of an impact in South Korea, which this is a big issue with like a lot of countries around the world. So yeah, I think people still remember it.
Yeah, I see both of these movies not really as like, it's not as usual as we're like reviewing pieces of entertainment usually. These both feel almost educational. They show you how strikes work. They teach you how to organize. They show you how like with what you have to deal when you strike from the opposition. Like they are also entertaining, but also they're more. I look at the cultural relevance less in does this hold up in terms of like the movie making, and more in like the themes. And with both, it's obvious that they're like still relevant as long as we have like capitalism and unions.
Yeah. Also, of course, Strike holds up on the filmmaking. It's literally one of the fucking williest, like.
Yeah, Strike has a different thing because it's the first feature film by Sergei Eisenstein. So even if you're like the most anti-union person, but you like movies, you kind of have to watch this to just understand some things about like how movie language evolved.
I'm just going to say this very quick, not to increase my volume, but some of the interviews are fun. I don't know, some of the articles I found about this is very funny because it's Americans going, I hate the communists, I hate the unions, but this is good filmmaking. It's just like, it's so fucking funny, man. I fucking love American academics. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so cultural relevance strike is, like, if you are interested in film history, you're gonna check this out. You might even see this in film school, like if you go to film school. And it's also interesting for the history of labor, like because you see how these tactics have been pretty similar to like strikes nowadays. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think both are like pretty timeless. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cinematography cart.
Very nice, very like very laid down, subtle. Some good shots though, some really fantastic shots.
I guess they get a bit more hectic when the like police violence happens.
The
gets
police
a bit more
violence
frantic.
Is like genuine, it kind of goes. Like I mean it in a positive way. Like
it's kept very realistic. I feel from like what I've seen.
In a way that like I'm not gonna zaz how like every movie does police violence. I think it's one of the better epic like depicting how horrific police violence is, because it's just depicted in this naturalistic like horrific way.
Yeah, there's a like very panicked, almost claustrophobic effect with like all these cops pushing in on these women and stuff.
A big throwback, just a small throwback to early Gemini movies. This reminds me a lot of like how the police violence was done in those campus movies we watched.
Yeah, I actually also just thought of that. You're right.
Yeah, I think it has a lot. Both get like all of them get like this naturalistic style that just makes the violence more horrific. I also like how the camera shows the ensemble of the characters, even like just side characters that don't speak. It really makes it really shows like the unity, the solidarity, etc., etc.
Yeah, there's also a very good long take in the middle of this movie. There's like the choreography and the like amount of effort you would have needed to do this is pretty amazing, because it's like 40 seconds or something and it just goes through a massive crowd.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Speaking of impressive crowds, there's some there's like it doesn't seem like with 100 people or whatever. Is it like a scene like
there's like at least 100 people in some of these scenes on frame in the same time, and it looks amazing. Yeah, in Strike. So you could talk like people have talked forever about like these movies and the cinematography, so you could talk for an hour just about the cinematography.
I just want to say, I think I've talked with Ludo about this as very much like this is very much a very interesting connection, mostly because Einstein spoke this. So as I've said before when we covered animation movies, animation is my favorite medium, and when it comes to that, Eisenstein has spoken before as being admired in animation, and you can see in terms of the visuals and how certain things are sorted, because things will go very surreal in images that feel very inspired by animation styles,
Yeah.
Like, just how there's like a scene where like a NATO character like sees themselves in, like the mirror, I think. Like, and it cuts. There's like a lot of use of surreal visuals in a way that feels like very like near based on animation. The only other comparison I can even show in like terms of like black and white movies, even if that's the silent movies, like John Cocteau's movies,
Yeah.
Orpheus, the Beat and the Beast movie he did. A lot of use of like metaphor and symbolism. Like, it's really interesting, specifically how it's sorted. Because this movie goes from metaphor and symbolism to like just very like subdued. There's literally 100 people in the crowd, massing scenes. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Regarding the animation thing, something that also makes sense to me is like the way he does that kinetic stuff we mentioned before. The way he uses movement. Mm-hmm. That's very, very similar to like animation, where you like really sell the impact like of a hammer hitting somebody on the head, in a cartoony way.
Yeah,
and they do that a lot in this movie with like how crowds move, or like how something is flying around or all these motions.
This means baki de guapeln strike. It had strike.
There would the Tsarists would have fallen years before if Baki was there. I'm telling you.
Yeah, if they fought the caveman.
He would have just walked through that fire hose.
Okay, anyway, what's next? Music?
No. I have more with cinematography.
Okay, so
I think something people don't mention in any of the things I read is like the playfulness that you also said with like the surrealism in Eisenstein's movies sometimes, because like there's this thing he does where there's like photographic frames and you think you're looking at a photograph and then suddenly the photographs start to move.
Yeah.
And like that blew my fucking mind. Just because it's so playful and fun in a movie like this. And there's also like scenes where you have like this rural idyllic scenes and like kittens playing and all that stuff. It's not really the kind of imagery people imagine when they think of Eisenstein, but I think he actually had more range than a lot of people who just focus on the big crowds and like the way he can like convey political ideas.
So two things. First, I want to say with that, Eisenstein had a sense of humor. There's like even jokes in this. It's like
there's visual gags
that feel very cartoony. I think because of the nature of like a lot of film academia, they just forget that this guy can be funny, very funny actually. Like very serious movies with very queer endings, but has a nice sense of humor. Often.
Yeah, they wheel the boss through the streets, and you're like, damn, they're gonna kill this guy, and then they just throw him into a pond and laugh at him.
It's very nice. Also, I really like how Eisenstein depicts like the workers like just working, you know, like the scenes of like the various mechanisms of labor was just doing that. I think, you know.
Yeah, that's very good. And also that combat scene towards the end where they're like on those staircases where like the child dies. That shit's fucked up. Like that's amazing. They're like fighting on 3 different layers of the building, and it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's like horses on the stairs. I don't even know. Like so many people got hurt, I think.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of people got hurt in that movie.
Okay. Anyway, anything else to say?
No, I'm done. This isn't the prettiest Eisenstein, but I think all the visual trademarks are there of his style.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Let's go to the easiest section because there's not much. Soundtrack, Cart.
I think it's nice. Not have to say it's very much like ambient, I feel.
Yeah, it's pretty unremarkable, but like it's solid. It's not bad.
The part where they sing Union songs is good though.
Yeah, that's cool. Because their Union songs go like way harder than ours.
We talked about this. They use the same thing that a lot of like they use the same thing a lot of like anime like 70s openings do, and also a lot of podcasts like pop songs where they just like go fucking really hard. I think they said in the horn section.
Yeah, they have a bunch of trumpets blaring and shit.
It gives them like this very powerful sound that also makes it sound like they're fucking for some reason like playing the intro to a 70s soap opera anime.
Yeah, it gets you hyped.
Yeah, it gets you hyped to Union. Okay.
Strike soundtrack.
This is not the soundtrack of the movie because...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not the original soundtrack, but it was pretty fitting.
It was one of the most hard ones. It was not as bad, not bad, but it's not as weird as like the time that like the Pinocchio one we listened to that was like an ambient like...
Electro soundtrack, yeah.
Yeah, it's like we listened to a lot. It was like what was like the fucking side movie watched where they just have like cartoon noises all over?
Yeah, there was one that they had like used a lot of stock sounds and we had to change the rip because it was just like non-stop stock sounds in a silent movie that have no place in there.
It was so good. Anyway, but yeah, I think it's very much like paid to listen like soundtrack or like classical music. I think it's both fine.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, check out these movies. They're both good.
They're good. Okay. New announcement. because I don't want to annoy myself for having to repeat like 20 times on a random numbers generator, until the strike ends, we're just gonna pick the movies ourselves. Like that's the most easiest way of doing this. So next time we're gonna cover Ip Man Father and The Grandmaster, both movies about the actual guy that trained Bruce Lee.
Yeah, the Ip Man.
Yeah, is it actually Ip Man?
I think that was like a nickname. I don't know if it's like his.
I actually need to know. I don't even know what Ip Man actually means besides being like a name. We talked about it in the next episode probably.
Yeah, we're gonna do our research as usual.
See you at the movies. At the Gemini Movies. Goodbye.
Any plugs, Alex?
Oh yeah. Alice Boulevard on Twitter. I'm not gonna delete my Twitter, but I'm probably gonna start using it less because Elon Musk is a nightmare. He fascist, and he's probably actually just gonna remove the block button at any moment. So yeah, but still, Alice Boulevard on Twitter. Alice Boulevard on co-host. Twist. Alice Boulevard on Blue Sky. If you're a Skeeter, follow me there. And yeah, also on Tumblr, Alice Boulevard on Tumblr.
I heard you also have a Patreon where people can support you.
Pay me money. I almost forgot. Alice Boulevard on Patreon. I'm gonna link it.
Hell yeah.
It's just co-host for you, right?
Yeah, it's fun. Just co-host for me, Ludovico_limited.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving mid the wonders we have made, but the Union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the Union makes us strong.
They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the Union makes us strong.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the Union makes us strong.
In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of atoms, magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the Union makes us strong.